We've all heard of that movement now popularized called #MeToo. The gospel you just heard is about a different sort of movement that actually goes back to the very beginning of humanity. You might call it #not me, her. It's her. Her over there. It's her fault. She's messed up. He's the sinner. I'm not like that. Not me. Again and again in Luke's gospel, the simmering contempt in all of us is exposed. Remember last Sunday's story of the prodigal son? The older brother has this still simmering contempt for his younger brother. This son of yours, he says to his dad, this son of yours, well, my gosh, he's his brother. He doesn't know his name. I remember one time when I said to my mom, that son, your son, did it again. And that's the last time I ever did not use Ron's name. This son of yours. And here in this gospel, these men throw this woman caught in adultery in front of them all, referring to her and her lot as such a woman, no name, such a woman. Statements like that are dripping with contempt. Not me. And this summer, Luke, the same gospel writer, will tell us another story of a Pharisee and a sinner. The Pharisee in front of the church. He's full of self-congratulatory, and he presumes his moral superiority over the sinner in the back. He had clear disdain for others to whom he considers himself morally superior. Not me. Can you just feel the contempt? Can you feel it in yourself too? For whom do you tend to harbor contempt in this world? What kind of sin in others do you loathe the most? I shared with you at the beginning of Lent, one of the things I'm working on this Lent is to pay attention to my rants. When do I find myself ranting against somebody, some group, or something? Once again, about this point in Lent, I'm so dismayed by what becomes apparent to me when I start to notice my rants, even against institutions. Can I just feel that contempt underneath of that in me? Can you pay attention to it in yourself? The gospel says it's there. The gospel says clearly it's there, and it's there in all of us if we are honest with ourselves. Big if there. We're so quick to look down on, to condemn those people who screw up mightily. And yes, they did screw up. No mistake about it. They did a bad thing, that person, whoever he or she is. But we're so quick to look down on them and condemn them. Yes, they screw it, but we condemn them so that we can make ourselves look better, so we can make ourselves morally better. And so our relationship with others gets so skewed, unbalanced. We may not say it out loud, but trust me, God knows. And chances are, people will see it in us as well. this largely hidden contempt in us for others, especially the ones we have decided are the worst sinners, it's destroying us. And Jesus is pointing this out not to condemn us, just like he did not condemn the woman in adultery, but so that we might be saved, set free from this in us that's tearing us apart. That's why Jesus keeps getting this not me, not meanness out in front of us so that we can catch it and work on it, so it doesn't keep destroying us and our human family. We all look for scapegoats so we don't have to look at ourselves. We all look for scapegoats so that we don't have to look at it in ourselves. And Jesus exposes this pattern in us to us. This insidious way, this destructive way, this poisonous way that says again and again, not me, no way, I'm not like that, I'm not like that. They wanted to make themselves feel better by showcasing the outcast, making them the scapegoat for all their junk. And I wish in church I could say a different word. Poop. For making them the scapegoat of all their own stuff. See how bad she is? Can you believe it? There was a study done recently about people who rant. It was actually about preachers, priests even, who rant from pulpits against things that when the study drills down on the truth, it's oftentimes their secret sin themselves. So I better start working on these rants. But think about that. It came out so clearly in the Vatican and elsewhere that priests and preachers who rant against things like homosexuality are oftentimes self-loathing homosexuals. Oftentimes, not always. But the truth is, if they put it out there on somebody else, they don't have to look at it ever in themselves. What Jesus is about in this gospel is leveling this playing field, leveling it. When we say, not me, Jesus says, yes, you. Let the one who is without sin, the one who doesn't have any sins, you have my permission to throw the stone. Not me, we say. And Jesus says, yeah, you. My friends, can we just see how we feel better about ourselves by going after them with their despicable sin? We all have our despicable sins. The need for scapegoating is in us all, but we are largely unaware of it, oblivious to this in us. We're unaware of it partly because we don't take the solitude, we don't take the silence necessary to consider carefully our own selves and look honestly at ourselves. And that's partly because we're so busy making ourselves better by the again unrealized contempt we have in us towards others. In our minds, those are the real sinners. Oh yeah, I go to confession, I have my sins, but those are the real sinners. If I am condemning you, you see, if I'm condemning you, I don't have to think about how screwed up I am. I don't have to think about my sins. You spouses, you someday spouses, your marriage will never succeed if you're not willing to look at yourself and see what it is you're doing that's not working, and be willing to change. Don't tell me how many books you've read. Don't tell me how many workshops you've attended. If you are not willing to change, they're all for nothing. You Christians, don't tell me how often you pray or you go to confession or adoration or Mass. If you're not willing to change, they're all for nothing. And you who are daring deep friendship, your friendships will never succeed if you're not willing to look at yourself and see what you are doing that is not working in your relationships and change it. The Me Too movement, it's been doing great things in its own work to try to set things right. It's the not me movement that concerns me for me and for you too.